All right, so hey everyone, welcome back to Tech News. Now, usually we're here talking about the latest and greatest in the world of tech, like new phones and apps and those AI things that everyone's going crazy for these days.
Right, exactly. It seems like every day there's some new headline about AI taking over the world.
Yeah, seriously, like I'm waiting for my toaster to start writing poetry or something. But hey, speaking of things that are valuable and maybe a little bit scary when you think about it too much, have you seen what's been happening with these tech stock giants lately, like Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft?
Oh, absolutely. Their combined market cap is just astronomical. It was over $9 trillion as of March 25th, which is just mind-boggling.
$9.2 trillion. I mean,
hmm
that's like enough to buy every single person on Earth a self-driving car or
Uh,
something, right?
well, maybe not a self-driving car, but definitely a very nice smartphone.
Yeah, true. But still, it's a crazy amount of money, and it
Yeah.
just keeps going up and up.
Yeah.
It's like
Uh,
they're immune to gravity or
yeah.
something.
Well, the market certainly seems to think they have a lot of growth potential ahead of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. But get this. Okay, we found something that makes $9.2 trillion look like pocket change. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? Now I'm intrigued.
So there's this hard asset, right? And no, it's not the latest iPhone or some fancy VR headset, although those can cost a pretty penny these days. This is something else entirely, something that one Wall Street strategist thinks could hit a market cap of $40 trillion.
$40 trillion. Oh, wow, that's a number that's hard to even wrap your head around.
Right, it's like trying to count all the stars in the galaxy or something, and that's what we're diving into today, folks, the incredible world of gold.
Gold, that's right, the OG precious metal, the one that's been a store of value for, well, since ancient times.
Yep, gold, the shiny stuff that everyone's been obsessed with for like millennia. And, it's interesting because usually gold and the US dollar, they have this kind of inverse relationship, like when one goes up, the other goes down.
That's right, they're often seen as safe haven assets. So when investors are feeling risk averse, they tend to flock to one or the other.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Lately, gold has been on a tear. Even though the dollar's been pretty strong too, you'd think they'd be moving in opposite directions, but nope, they're both up.
It's definitely an unusual situation, and it suggests that there are some other factors at play beyond just the usual dollar-gold dynamics.
Right. And one of those factors is, debt, specifically U.S. national debt, which as of right now is sitting at over $36 trillion.
That's a staggering number, and it's something that's been growing for decades.
Yeah, it's like that credit card bill that you just keep ignoring, hoping it'll go away, but it never does.
And the problem is that this debt comes with a lot of interest payments, which are a significant drain on the federal budget.
Exactly. And then you add in the fact that the government consistently spends more than it takes. In fiscal year 2024, they had a deficit of $1.83 trillion.
So it's not just the existing debt, it's the ongoing deficits that are adding to the problem.
Right. It's like trying to fill a bathtub with a hole in the bottom. You can keep pouring water in, but it's never going to fill up.
And this situation is making a lot of people nervous, especially investors who are starting to wonder about the long-term sustainability of U.S. debt.
Yeah. If you were lending money to someone who is constantly racking up more and more debt, wouldn't you start to get a little worried?
Absolutely. And that's where gold comes in because it's seen as a safe haven asset, something that can hold its value even when other assets are struggling.
Right. It's like that emergency kit you keep in your basement,
Mm-hmm.
just in case things really hit the fan.
And there are some pretty smart people who think that things could be heading in that direction. One person who's been particularly vocal about this is Luke Gromen.
Luke Gromen, he's the founder of Forest for the Trees, right? A market research firm.
That's right. He was recently on Danny Moses's On the Tape podcast, and he had some really interesting things to say about gold and the U.S. debt situation.
Yeah, so Groman's argument basically boils down to this. When a country has a lot of debt, and especially when that country issues the world's reserve currency like the U.S. does, it becomes really hard to pay off that debt without just printing more money.
Right. And when you print more money, you devalue the currency, which can lead to inflation.
Exactly, and that's why Groman thinks that gold is going to go up in value regardless of what happens with inflation because it's a hedge against currency devaluation.
It's like a lifeboat in a sea of potentially worthless paper money.
I like that analogy. And you know what else is interesting? Central banks have been selling U.S. treasuries and buying gold lately.
That's right. They've been net sellers of treasuries since 2014 to the tune of about $400 billion, and they've bought about $600 billion worth of gold in the same time period.
So it's not just individual investors who are worried about U.S. debt. It seems like central banks are starting to get nervous too.
And Groman thinks that this trend is going to continue. He believes that we're just in the early innings of a major shift towards gold.
Early innings, huh? So, like, we're talking about a long-term trend here, not just a short-term blip.
Exactly. He thinks that gold could easily reach $4,000 or even $5,000 per ounce in the coming years.
Wow. And at $6,000 per ounce, we'd be looking at that $40 trillion market cap he was talking about.
It's definitely a possibility, and it's something that investors need to be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if gold really does take off, like that's going to have a huge impact on the global economy.
Absolutely. It could lead to a major shift in the balance of power between different countries and currencies.
It's almost like something out of a science fiction novel. You know,
Yeah.
this ancient metal suddenly becoming the most valuable asset in the world.
Well, stranger things have happened in the world of finance, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's recap what we've learned today. We've got these tech giants with their massive market caps, but then we've also got gold, this ancient store of value that's suddenly making a comeback.
And the reason for gold's resurgence seems to be tied to concerns about U.S. debt and the potential for currency devaluation.
Right. And if those concerns continue to grow, gold could become even more valuable in the years to come.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on, and it just goes to show that even in the world of tech, you can't ignore the fundamentals.
Yeah, sometimes the old ways are the best ways, right? Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of gold.
It's been a pleasure.
And be sure to tune in next time when we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming of all things tech.
Until then, stay informed and stay curious.
And maybe buy some gold just in case, you know.
That's probably not a bad idea.
All right.
Yeah.
See you later, everyone.